Your parents grew up with almost nothing. They never once touched the stock market, never bought a single share, never trusted a number on a screen with their money. Not because they were foolish, because every lesson life ever taught them pointed in the exact same direction. Money is fragile. Money vanishes. So you hold it close, you keep it where you can see it, and you never, ever trust it to anyone. Now look at you, 22 years old, moving money into crypto from your phone on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, and it feels obvious. It feels smart. It feels like the only reasonable thing a thinking person could possibly do. Here is the strange part. You are both right. You are each following a logic that fits the world you were handed perfectly. And here's the part almost nobody says out loud. One of you is probably wrong. You just cannot tell which one. Not yet. Maybe not for 30 years. This is the first lesson in the psychology of money, and it may be the most important one you will ever learn. No one is crazy with money. Not your parents. Not the neighbor leasing a car he clearly cannot afford. Not the coworker who keeps every dollar in a savings account that pays him almost nothing. Every financial decision a human being makes looks insane from the outside and feels perfectly reasonable from the inside. The entire game is understanding why. Start with something humbling. Think about how little of the world you have actually lived through. If you are breathing today, you have witnessed a paper-thin sliver of economic history. Maybe one recession that hit your family hard. Maybe one stretch of years where everything you touched went up, and you started to feel invincible. Maybe one afternoon when you watched a parent come home, sit down, and quietly explain that the job was gone. And in that moment, something inside you made a decision you did not even notice. A decision that this feeling would never happen to you again. That sliver of experience is almost nothing compared to everything that has ever happened in the world of money. A rounding error. And yet it does not behave like a rounding error inside your head. It runs the whole show. It writes most of what you believe about how money works, what is safe, and what is reckless. You like to think you make financial decisions with logic. You do not. You make them with memory. You make them with the story your own life has told you, again and again, until it stopped feeling like a story and started feeling like the truth. Let me show you how strange this gets. Picture two people standing next to each other. One was born in 1950, the other in 1970. 20 years apart. On paper, almost nothing separates them. Same country, same money, same rules. But the one born in 1950 came of age watching the stock market crawl sideways for what felt like forever, while the price of everything in the shops climbed higher and higher. For them, the market was a place where money went to die slowly, and inflation was a pickpocket that never slept. That lesson did not stay in the past. It rode along with them for the rest of their lives. The one born in 1970 came of age in the middle of one of the most explosive booms in financial history. They watched money multiply just by leaving it alone. For them, sitting on the sidelines was the only real mistake a person could make. Staying out was the risk. Now put those two people in the same room and ask them one simple question. What should I do with my savings? They will give you opposite answers, and each one will quietly decide the other has lost their mind. But neither has. They are both simply loyal to the world that raised them. They are both right, inside their own story. Here's one that stops people cold every single time. In the United States, the households earning the least money spend more on lottery tickets than almost anyone else. Hundreds of dollars a year spent by people who will also tell you honestly that they could not put their hands on a few $100s in an emergency. From a distance, it looks like madness. It looks like the single worst use of money a person could choose. But do not stay at a distance. Step inside that life, just for a moment. When you are living from one paycheck to the next, when the things comfortable people take for granted, the vacations, the calm, the safety, all feel like they belong to some other planet, a lottery ticket stops being a gamble. It becomes the only door in the building. For the price of a coffee, you buy a few hours where you get to imagine a completely different life. And to a person who has been handed no other way to dream, that imagined life is worth a great deal. You do not have to agree with the decision. You probably should not copy it. But the moment you understand the world it grew out of, you lose the right to call it crazy. It was never crazy. It was reasonable, given everything that person knows. And now the truth that should humble every expert who has ever spoken with confidence. We are all beginners at this, all of us. The financial tools we treat like ancient, settled wisdom are shockingly, almost embarrassingly young. The retirement accounts that millions of people quietly build their entire futures on have only existed since the late 1970s. The simple index fund, the thing now sold as the safest and most obvious way to grow money over a lifetime, was a brand new and slightly ridiculous idea within living memory. Nobody alive has 50 calm, tested years of mastering these things. Not the confident voice on the financial news. Not the author whose book sits on your shelf. Not me, not anyone. We're all improvising, using a tiny handful of personal experiences to play a game that keeps quietly rewriting its own rules underneath us. So, what do you actually do with all of this? Two things. One easy, one hard. The first is this. You stop judging. The next time you watch someone make a money decision that looks insane to you, swap the question. Stop asking, why is this person such a fool? Start asking, what did their life teach them that mine never did? You will be right far more often, and along the way you will learn things about money and about people that no chart and no spreadsheet will ever hand you. The second one is harder, much harder. You turn that exact same gaze around and you point it at yourself, because your own instincts about money do not feel like opinions. They feel like facts. They feel like simple common sense. They are not. They are echoes. Echoes of the specific years you happen to be born into, the specific fears you happen to inherit, the specific wins and losses that happen to land on you and no one else. The investor who swears he will never sell, and the investor who panics and dumps everything the moment the screen turns red, they both believe they are simply being smart. They are both just being shaped by stories they never chose and mostly cannot see. And that is the whole point. The moment you can finally see your own programming, the moment you can name the story running quietly in the background, you are handed something almost nobody has. You're handed a choice. No one is crazy. Everyone is reasonable inside their own story. And the single most dangerous money story you carry is the one you cannot see at all, because from the inside, it feels exactly like plain common sense. Across this series, we are going to drag those hidden stories out into the light, one at a time. We are going to look hard at luck, at greed, at the strange truth that getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two completely different skills that almost no one has together. We are going to take the things you are most certain about when it comes to money and turn them over, slowly, to read what is written on the other side. Because the goal was never to know more than the people around you. The goal is to behave better than they do, especially in the moments when behaving well is the hardest thing in the world. Stay on the blueprint. See you in the next step.